Hey everyone, welcome! Today we're going to tackle one of the most powerful tools in any data toolkit, the SQL join. If you've ever worked with data, you know it almost never lives in one perfect table. Joins are how we bring it all together. So let's dive in and see how we solve this data puzzle.
So you've probably run into this, right? You've got some crucial information in one table and another piece of the puzzle in a completely different table. You need to connect them to get the full story. So how do you actually do that? Well, that is the exact problem SQL joins were made for. I really want you to think of your data like a puzzle. See, for a lot of good reasons, we store information in separate, specialized tables. It keeps things tidy, it cuts down on mistakes, and it stops us from repeating the same info over and over. But the catch is, on its own, each piece is kind of incomplete.
Okay, so take a look at this employees table. We've got names, that's great. But then you see this d.id column. John is in Department 1, Priya is in 2. What does that even mean? By itself, that number is totally meaningless.
And here is our second puzzle piece, the departments table. Now this table gives that d.id some real meaning. Ah, okay. So ID 1 is HR, 2 is finance, and 3 is IT. Suddenly, that other table makes a whole lot more sense. The real question is, how do we get the database to connect these for us? And that right there brings us to the core idea. To get a useful answer, we have to tell the database exactly how these two tables are related. It's time to actually connect the pieces. You know, I absolutely love this analogy because it's just perfect. A join literally connects rows from different tables, and it does it based on a column they have in common. You're telling it to match the d.id from the employees table with the ID from the departments table. And just like that, you see the full picture.
All right, enough theory. Let's get our hands dirty and build our very first and probably the most common type of join out there, the inner join. We're going to walk through it piece by piece.
Okay, here it is, the whole query, all in one go. And I know, at first glance, this might look a little intimidating, like a bunch of code speak. But trust me, every single part of this has a simple, logical job. Let's break it down right now.
Let's just follow the logic here. First up, select and from. That's you telling the database, hey, here's what I want to see, the employee's name and the department's name, starting from the employees table. Next, the join keyword points to the other table we need, departments. And then the on clause. That's the magic ingredient. That's the rule that connects them, saying only match the rows where the employee's d.id is the exact same as the department's ID. So we've written the query, we've given the database its instructions, so what's the big payoff? Remember where we started, with two separate, pretty unhelpful tables.
And boom, here it is. Just look at that. One single combined table that makes perfect sense. Now we can clearly see John is in HR, Priya is in finance, and Alex is in IT. All that confusion, gone. Now that is the power of a SQL join. So, the inner join, that's going to be your go-to, your workhorse. You'll use it all the time. But you should know it's actually part of a whole family of joins, and each one has a slightly different job. Okay, let's break these down. Your inner join, like we just saw, is picky. It only shows you rows that have a perfect match in both tables. A left join is different. It keeps everything from the left table and only the matching stuff from the right. So if an employee had no department, they'd still show up, but their department name would just be blank. A right join, you guessed it, does the exact opposite. And a full join is the most inclusive of all. It brings in every single row from both tables, whether they have a match or not. All right, so we've walked through the why, the what, and the how of connecting these data puzzles. But you know, the absolute best way to really get this to sink in is to just try it yourself.
Look, if you walk away with just one thing today, I want it to be this. SQL joins are the essential tool you need to combine related data. They're what turns separate, messy lists of information into powerful, clear insights. It is a skill that will pay off every single day you work with data. So, to help you put this into practice right now, I've got a little challenge for you. Using the tables we just looked at, could you write a left join to find any employees who don't have a department assigned to them? Go on, give it a shot. Seriously, getting your hands on the keyboard is the absolute fastest way to master this. Thanks for tuning in.